performance up front by our offensive line. You know, Jordan, Landon, Kelsey, Isaac, Lane, and then Jordan when he stepped in there, or Andre Dillard when he stepped in there, to go for 363 on the ground. I've never been a part of something like that, and that's a credit to those guys and the preparation they put in every week. And Stout doing what he does with those guys, and obviously the tight ends, Jack, Grant, Tyree, stepping up, and Jason doing a hell of a job with those guys. But, I mean, it was unbelievable. It was fun to watch, fun to be a part of.
What are the instructions for Jalen about protecting himself, and why is he so good at it?
I think he has a natural feel for it, to be honest. You know, he's been a runner for a while, obviously in high school and college. Just having a feel for when to get down, when to get out of bounds, and protect himself. I think that's a natural thing. Obviously, you got to coach some of those things up, but he's got a natural knack for that.
Nick mentioned that he'll come to the sideline and offer up some suggestions. How much more is that happening this year, and what have some of those been?
Yeah, no, it's been great. Anytime, you know, you're playing at a high level like he's doing right now, and he's seeing things really well on the field, all those guys, the receivers, Jalen, I mean, when they see something that we can take advantage of because they're the ones out there doing it, obviously we want to take those into consideration every time, and then we go from there.
How many teams have spied Jalen versus not through this part of the season? What are the benefits of each from your vantage point?
Without getting into too much detail from a competitive advantage standpoint, obviously some teams do spy him, some don't, and I'll leave it at that.
You mentioned Andre Dillard playing guard. Like, how did that come about? And what made you guys put him in? I mean,
yeah, well, Andre's a really athletic guy, and obviously Stout does a great job of cross-training those guys, guard, tackle, and he's able to do both. So it was really good to see him go in and play the way he did when Landon was out, but really impressed with the way he did.
What's impressed you the most this year about the way Miles is running?
The consistency. I mean, the consistency week in and week out, and taking care of the football, and the way he's running the physical, you know, with the physicality that he's doing and taking care of the football. He's seeing it good. I know I keep saying that every week, but it continues to be the same message. It's consistency and the way he's doing it and taking care of the football.
when it comes to Quez, he had a lesser role early in the season with AJ coming in, but now with Dallas, sort of those dominoes. Just talk about his ability to step up in that role.
It's been tremendous to see that. You know what? I think a guy like that, he's a big-time playmaker, and just the patience he's had. You know, I talked to him after the game, and I said, I really appreciate your patience because I know, you know, guys want the football, and, you know, it's his time to step up, and he's been doing that. You know, that play at the end of half to leave 13 seconds on the play clock to get that touchdown was huge, you know, and we trust Quez in those situations to go up and get it, and Jalen made a heck of a throw, and it was a one-on-one matchup. And he's continuing to make plays, and we got to keep doing that.
Nick said the thing about Quez, about how he accepted his role. How much conversation did that take with him for him to accept that lesser role? How much management did you have to do with it?
Yeah, I think that was, you know, early in the season. You know, obviously you signed AJ, so you got AJ, Smitty, and Dallas. You got three guys, and we always talk about there's one football to go around, and your time's going to come around. And he's been patient doing it, and obviously with Dallas down, it was his time to step up, and he's accepted his role, and he's making the most of it right now.
Even though you don't have to directly scheme against Derrick Henry, how much does his ability affect what you guys have to plan and game plan everything on offense?
Yeah, well, I think we control what we control on offense. You know, we take care of the little things, and the big things will take care of themselves. And I think that's the message for our offense is we got to control what we can control and go score points.
With Stout's role as run game coordinator, what does that mean? And how does that manifest during the weekend?
Yeah, no, it's great. So Stout obviously looks at all the runs and how we go about operating the run plan, and he comes up with his ideas, and we get together at nighttime and we go through the plan, and then we marry everything up with the run and pass game, and he does a heck of a job putting those guys in positions. You know, there's so many different techniques from a defensive line standpoint, and how are we going to put our guys in the best position to make plays, whether they're in this front or that front or whatever it is, and what's the technique of the defensive line. You know, are they up the field? Are they readers? There's so many different things that go into it, and he does a heck of a job of putting his guys in position to make plays.
What's the process during the game of adjusting to the way things are going? So if you see the run working, going off script perhaps and sticking what's working.
Yeah, 100%. So what are they doing defensively? How can we adjust quickly to what they're doing? Obviously, we go in with the plan of what we've seen on tape. And if they stick to their plan defensively, we're going to stick to ours offensively. But you got to be ready to adjust quickly if they're switching things up. And that's what we do on the sidelines, and that's the process we go through.
How often as a play caller does it go as planned compared to adjusting?
That's a good question. I can't give you an exact number, to be honest, but there's some games where we got to adjust, some we don't. And last week was pretty good.
When you're putting a game plan together, how often do you sort of put something in for the purpose of making future teams have to worry about something that you put on tape?
Yeah, there's always that thought process. Everything we do, Nick's got a long checklist we go through of everything, of marrying ideas and putting stuff on tape, and does it fit that week versus the defense we're playing. There's always that thought process we go through.
With AJ and ball security, anything standing out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him, I mean, he knows this too. Obviously, we got to take care of the football, but it's we got to keep drilling it in practice. It's wrist above the elbow locked, and when you get in traffic, you got to have the clasp band on it when you're going through, when you get in those voids. But I thought he did a heck of a job. Obviously, he had the fumble, but he bounced back and had the touchdown on that first drive of the third quarter, which was good to see.
Is the usage of Cam a reflection of your comfort in how he's come along?
Of Cam?
Yeah, Juergens.
Yeah. No, he's been great. Yeah, Cam's done a nice job. Obviously, we put him in there on that short yardage play, and then down in there, and then we got the big one with the scramble with Jalen. But Cam's done a nice job. I mean, obviously, Stout's done a nice job with them, and then learning from Kelsey. He's a smart football player. He's tough, and he's going to have a hell of a future here.
Getting back to AJ, I think after he had a drop, like Jalen went right back to him on the next play. Like, I know it's like a little thing, but how much do you think that kind of thing matters to a guy like AJ?
Drops are going to happen, and AJ's an elite football player, and we have total confidence in him every time he steps on the field, so no issues there.
Shane, in the game, well, he's got, I think, 9 touchdowns now in less than 2 seasons. How do you think he's handled his role in the reps?
He's done a heck of a job. Obviously, you got 3 backs in the backfield that we feel really comfortable with, and he's done a nice job, and he's continuing to get better.
Tennessee, that defense, where do you start? What do you see when you're
I mean, defensive line-wise, obviously Simmons is a load up front. This is a physical group, and I know I say this every week, being a heck of a challenge, but this is a darn good defense that we got to be ready for. They do a nice job. Obviously, Vrabel puts them in good positions along with their defensive coordinator. They're good on the back end. Obviously, they got Bayer back there. The 2 corners are solid. They're sound in what they do, and they're a very physical football team that we got to be ready for.
How has Miles done? I guess you weren't asked about this, but breaking tackles, it seems like that's something that's happening.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, Jamal does a heck of a job with those guys going through, and obviously you guys see us out there, in individual period, working the ball security stuff and running through those things. But just the consistency and the physicalness of running through the tackles. That touchdown we got off the turnover is a heck of a job by our defense getting the turnover there. Lane got the kick out on the trap, and then he ran through the arm tackle, of the nose guard there, and then broke another one. But I think that's just the relentless effort and pursuit, to go score, and that's what he's been doing week in and week out, and we need that.
He talked about taking better care of himself coming into this year. Do you see the product of that? Does he seem different physically?
Yeah, I think he's doing a nice job. I think all these guys have their routine going into every week, on how they take care of their bodies, getting ready to play, whether it's, the stretching, the weight room, the yoga, whatever, massages, like all those different things. Like everyone's got their routine, and I think as you get as an older player, a veteran player getting in, you find your routine, and he's found that, obviously, through the years, and it's been good to see.
They spoke about the information that Jalen brings between drives.
Yeah.
What's that sequence like for you as the play caller?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So after a sequence of plays, I'll go look at the surface real quick, and then I get my thoughts together on the next drive of what we're thinking, and then I'll go to Jalen, and Jalen will be talking with Brian during those situations, boom, and then we'll go over, and he's like, hey, this looks good here. Like, we can get to this. This would be awesome. And obviously, if I see it on the surface as well, I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. So he's doing a nice job with that.
Tyree was gone for a long time, obviously rehabbing from the ACL. He's gotten back, gotten his feet wet. What have you seen from him as a developmental player? I mean, that's a big transition.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big, long guy that can run and catch. And so obviously, it's been 2 weeks since he's been back, but just continuing to give him the reps in practice, getting him comfortable back in this thing. But I think he had 5 reps in the last game, but continuing to work him in there week in and week out. But he's showing good strides.
Good.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.